The southern pygmy perch is a very small fish, a native fish that's located in 4 populations within New South Wales. It matters because it's a small native fish and it's endangered. Historically it was found in Blakeney Creek before this population in Oolong Creek was known to exist, and there was probably upwards of 30 kilometres of creek that it was actually located in. Exotic fish have moved up the creek. They've actually, I will use the word, annihilated the southern pygmy perch, and now the biggest population is actually in a tributary of the creek. So the interesting thing about Oolong Creek doesn't have a man-made rock barrier in it. It actually has an extensive waterfall, and it forms a natural barrier. They like a lot of in-water aquatic vegetation. Milfoil, which is a bit feathery if you see it in the water, a plant called Potamogeton, which I call the water lily plant, but its leaves are actually oval shape as opposed to round, and a lot of ribbon grass, which you often see in aquariums. Water in terms of life is very important. It's not just the fish, it's for your stock, it's for people. The actual quality of the water is very important, and it's the reeds and the plants within the water itself that keeps the water pure and filtered. So we're at one of the pools which is underneath the bridge that goes through Dalton on Oolong Creek, and the pool that we're looking at actually dries out in the drought, but we have other extensive pools downstream and upstream where obviously the fish shelter. So the population in Oolong Creek was discovered by 2 teenage girls who were coming down to the creek and doing a spot of collecting things and taking them back to the pond at their house. And so the 2 girls collected some fish and other things and took them back up, and their mother said, "I haven't seen that fish before," took some photos of it, and because she knew about the southern pygmy perch, she then sent the photos, and that's how the population here was discovered. The science interests me as well. The science in collecting DNA samples to see if the population in Oolong Creek is actually related to the population in Blakeney Creek. And I now spend my time driving around. If I'm driving around, I'll stop wherever there's a road crossing or a creek crossing or whatever else, and I have a look out both sides to see what plant material is around that you can actually just go and harvest. I've learnt a lot because I didn't know anything about fish. And the fish are a little bit different to a lot of the other threatened species. So they don't make any noise, so they're not like a bird, which we can hear in the background. They're not like the koalas, which we've been searching for up on the Mundunan Range, which the male howls and grunts and groans. You don't hear any of that. And more importantly, you don't see them. So you don't see a cuddly koala, you don't see a bird, you don't see anything. Unless you actually trap them and catch them, or you come down looking overnight with a torch, you don't know what's there. If we don't do something to enhance the habitat for some of these threatened species, then they just won't be there. It's choked up with willows and elms, probably all willows. While there's some good phragmites and reeds here, you can see it's got foam and debris, and it's not green and attractive like where we've just been.
I'm also struck there's no frogs.
There are no frogs.
It's dead silent.
It's dead silent.